Hey everyone! Thank you so much for joining us. We are the Pretty Losers, and we are here tonight with two amazing guests to discuss the topic of weight loss surgery in Mexico. Again, I am Heather, and we are also with Trisha,
Hello.
Christy,
Hello.
and Nirvana.
Hey guys, hey.
And our two awesome ladies that came to discuss their weight loss surgery in Mexico are Erin and Robin.
Hello.
And we are going to let them both introduce themselves, just give us a kind of a rundown of who they are and where they had surgery, etc. So we will start with Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin, or my YouTube name is Rockin' Robin VSG. I had my surgery, vertical sleeve gastrectomy in Tijuana, Mexico, with Dr. Sergio Quinones, and that was October 1st, just this last year. So I am 17 weeks tomorrow post-op, and I started my journey at 422, and I lost in the first month and a half. Month and a half was my pre-op, and I lost, I think it was 50 right before surgery. So 422 down to 372, and then right now I am at 325. So I have lost since pre-op 97 pounds.
Wow, that's amazing.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
And as soon as Erin's face pops up, we'll let her introduce herself. Does she? Well, while we wait for her to reconnect, I just want to give a brief little disclaimer here that the Pretty Losers we don't promote weight loss surgery, and we do not promote weight loss surgery in Mexico or US or any country. That's not the purpose of tonight's show. Tonight's show is just to educate and inform anyone who may be considering surgery in Mexico, and just to share personal experiences with each other. And we gathered questions from Facebook, from all of you viewers, and we're just going to be asking the ladies those questions today. And that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to say that real quickly. Is Erin?
I don't know why my camera is not coming on.
Well, you can still go ahead and give your intro, even though we can't see your beautiful face.
Well, I'm Erin, and I don't know what all, because I was kicked off, I don't know what all you want me to say, but I am 23 weeks out from BSG, and I had that in Piedras Negras, Mexico, with Dr. Guillermo Alvarez with endobariatric.com.
Awesome. Do you want to try to disconnect and reconnect? See if that works?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Well, we'll start with the first question. We'll start with you, Robin, obviously. The first question is, why did you choose surgery in Mexico versus the U.S.?
Well, I'm disabled, so I'm on Medicare, and the only thing that Medicare would cover. Sorry, my dog is jumping all over my camera. But the only thing that Medicare would cover is the gastric bypass, and I didn't want the gastric bypass, so I was searching for other options, and there's a place really close to me that would do it, and they would charge, I think altogether with all my costs, it was going to be over $30,000, and I was like, ouch, I can't pay that. So I really started to do a lot of research, and found a group of people. I chose a different doctor originally, but then I found a group of people who kind of sort of talked me out of it, I would say, and I'm kind of glad they did. But so that's basically why I did, is just because I just didn't have the money to pay for it.
Gotcha. And just another question that ties in with that is, when did you first start your research on having weight loss surgery in Mexico, and then what was the actual date of your surgery? So how long was that process?
Mine was actually pretty quick in my eyes. I started my research, I think it was like July, and then I ended up having surgery on October 1st. So it was like a 4-month process.
Wow, that's it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Erin, I'll read the question again since you were reconnecting. So the question was, why did you choose to have surgery in Mexico versus the U.S.? Uh-oh. Frozen again?
Let's see. And
Can you hear us?
frozen on my screen?
No,
Yeah?
you're good. We can see you now.
Oh, okay, good. So 2010, 2011, during the holidays, I actually had started with a program in the U.S. and I went through all, like, the whole 6-month program and all of that, and then the very end, like 2 weeks before my declined it, and the doctor's office wouldn't do any, like, what do you call it? When you ask them to reconsider, my mind's blank. So I just, like, abandoned it. And then last year, or I guess early 2014, my husband and I were talking, and he said, have you ever considered it? Because his ex-wife had RNY, but, like, years ago.
Uh-oh, I think it's cutting out again.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Oh, hi. We have a friend that lives a block away who had surgery with Dr. Alvarez also. So when I heard about her surgery and how wonderful it went, and she had so many good things to say, I said, let's just do that. And so we did.
Awesome.
Some
So
research and stuff too, but
so your neighbor kind of like re-sparked the idea again after hearing her story?
yeah. Yeah.
How long did it take for you to, like, initially, like, when you contacted them?
Having surgery was... I'm sorry, you cut out. What was the question? How long did it take for me initially?
Like, when you contacted them and then when you had the surgery, how long was that length of time?
Well, it could have been like 2 months, but I needed to save up the money. So, let's see. I initially contacted them, I think, in February, and I had surgery in August.
Okay. But that was because you weren't ready.
Right. I could have had probably a late March, early April date if I had had the money.
Okay. So, what are the, like, go ahead, Heather. I was going to...
No, you go ahead.
So what were the tests that you, I mean, do you have to do any pre-op tests, or, I mean, what's the difference between, I mean, like in the U.S., you have to do all these pre-op tests, you have to go to nutrition classes, you have to do all these things. So what was the difference between doing it as far as pre-op tests than here in the United States?
I didn't have to do nothing at all. I sent them my information, basically like my weight. They have like a form, you fill it out, your weight, any comorbidities, stuff like that, and then his nurse or his facilitator sends it over to him, Dr. Alvarez, and he looks over your case and he decides whether or not he thinks you're a candidate based on what you told them. So he said I was, and then we got into scheduling and
Oh, she cut out again. What about you, Robin? Was the pre-op requirements pretty much the same as what she's describing?
Well, yeah, pretty much. What's funny is that I actually did consider her doctor as well, and I was a candidate, but I was going to have to lose like 45 pounds before I could have surgery with him. And so I was researching more, and my doctor didn't require any testing either. He said he would do like the blood testing when you got there, but I was kind of hoping that I would get like an EKG and some tests like that, but he said that there was none of those tests. So I actually went to my doctor beforehand, and I got an EKG and a complete blood panel workup, including all my vitamins levels and things like that, done here before I went. So.
Well, that's good.
That kind of leads to my next question. Did you inform your family doctor about having surgery in Mexico? And if you did, were they supportive? I guess Robin.
I did. I informed my doctor, and she basically said, well, she hoped that I came back alive.
Wow.
Yeah, she was real supportive.
Wow. And how about you, Erin? Are you there, Erin? No.
It froze again.
Oh, she's probably trying to reconnect completely. So how did that make you feel when she said that? Did you start second guessing all of your decisioning, or did you just kind of expect that?
I did start second guessing it. I didn't ever really completely second guess it, but it did scare me a little bit. And more than that, I took my daughter with me, and it scared her. So when she said, you know, well, I hope you come back alive, because, you know, some people don't, I kind of just was like, well, I wonder where you've gotten your information from. And she just said she wouldn't support surgery anywhere. It wasn't just Mexico. She just wouldn't support it anywhere unless it was in any USA, basically. So it did make me second guess a little bit, but just more or less because my daughter was with me.
Yeah, I can understand that. Are you with us, Erin? No.
So when you say you second guessed it, like, I mean, for me, like, I'm a wuss, like, period, like, hands down. But, like, I guess when my doctor, I know doctors don't know everything, but what was that I mean, what made you say, okay, I still got to do this? Was it just being, you know, tired of being overweight and unhealthy, or, I mean, what?
Yeah, it was, you know, I had done a lot of the research before, and I had talked to a lot of people from the doctor that I chose. I mean, I was nervous all the way up to the day that I had it. I made, and I've talked about this in a few of my videos, I actually made some videos for my daughter in case I died during surgery. I made one for her wedding. I made one for her graduation. They were really morbid videos in case I died. I was kind of convinced I was going to. So, but in my mind, it was like, well, it's either I die during surgery or I die, you know, sometime down the road. And I'm thinking it could have been even in a year. That's how unhealthy I felt. And I was starting to feel all that just recently, actually, from my weight. I was healthy before, but.
Erin!
Hi, I changed rooms, but I don't know if that's really going to help or not.
That's okay. Just
You sound clearer.
So the question that you missed was, did you talk to your family doctor about having surgery in Mexico? And if you did, were they supportive or not?
I didn't. I didn't, because I was going to do it either way, and so it didn't really matter to me if my regular doctor, which I live in like a super, super small rural town, so I don't really even have a family doctor. We have a medical clinic, and we have PAs. And when I went to the doctor after I came back because I got really dehydrated. And they said, well, what do you think's going on? And I said, well, I just had VSG, vertical sleeve gastrectomy, it was like 2 weeks out. And they were like, you had what? What's that? Is that like gastric bypass? And I was like, well, kind of. So I did tell them what it was in the first place. So they're not very helpful. So it doesn't really matter what they think.
That's funny. So the next
issues,
oh, go ahead.
If I have issues, I email or call Dr. Alvarez, and he tells me what to do or, you know, whatever, rather than go to the doctor where they would just be like, I don't know, what's your surgeon say? So,
right.
See the regular doctor for regular things like the flu.
Right. So the next question is in regards to cost, and if you don't feel, some people don't feel comfortable talking about the cost of surgery, and if you don't feel comfortable, just say pass. But if money were not a factor, would you have still gone to Mexico to have weight loss surgery? That was
knowing what I know now, yes.
Mini?
Mine was 80. I don't know. Mine was $8,500. I don't mind sharing. And like, there's no way that I could have paid for everything, start to finish in the U.S. for anywhere close to that. But if money was no object, if I was a billionaire, the experience that I had in Mexico was better than any experience I've ever had at a hospital in the United States. So I would absolutely do it again.
Wow.
Awesome. How about you, Robin?
Okay, if money was no object, before I went, if I had all the money in the world, I would have done it in America, definitely, for sure, because I'm a big wuss and I was scared beyond belief. But after, the experience I had, my pain was just so minimal, and my doctor was just so exceptional and awesome that I can't imagine myself have gone anywhere else. I'm so happy that I chose the doctor that I did.
He's okay. I have a special guest. He doesn't want to leave me alone. Say hi.
Hi, cutie.
Does anyone have any thoughts on paying cash for your surgery in the U.S.? Because one person that was asking me some questions had mentioned, you'll see surgeons in the U.S. saying, $10,000 for, the sleeve or whatever. But in the U.S., they can't guarantee what you might get charged from the hospital. That could really get
right.
Up. Like that.
Yeah, when they say $10,000 in the U.S., what they mean is that as a surgeon, my fee to do your surgery is $10,000, not the anesthesiologist fee, not the hospital fees, not any medications you might need later. So yeah. One thing I'll say about Dr. Alvarez is that while we were there, my husband went with me. There was another couple there, and the wife had had her VSG with him a year earlier or 18 months earlier, and she was there with her husband having his. And he had a complication. He had a leak, and Dr. Alvarez has a super low leak rate, but he did have one. And they kept him there and took care of him, and I think that they were there for 2 months, and it did not cost them another penny.
What? Wow.
I've got you. You're taken care of. We will take care of you. They, put them up. They took the wife out for meals, made sure that she was fed and had what she needed, and drove her back across the border to be able to go to Walmart and go shopping and stuff for food for herself. They really took care of her. If there's something that they can do for you, he's doing it, and he's not charging. 2 months in the hospital, that easily would have been a couple $100,000 here, and he paid another cent.
Wow.
So that brings me to another thing. Whenever you guys had surgery in Mexico, was it a hospital or was it a clinic, or because in the back of my head I'm thinking clinic or the back of Walmart or something. I don't know.
On a card table in the back.
Right.
Bathroom, yeah.
Mine was it was called Santa Fe Medical Clinic, and it was actually I think that the pictures showed it nicer than what I thought it was when I went there, but it wasn't run down or anything like that. It was just it was a hospital, but it was called a clinic, and there was another floor, and I didn't see that floor honestly, but the floor that I was on, it just had 5 rooms, and it was really just for my doctor. And I have videos too, which I can post links to at some point as well, but it shows my entire experience, and you'll see the entire the hallways that I walked through, which they're very little. There's nothing there, and so for me it was I don't know. I liked the place after I was there, but I was just kind of when I first went.
mine was at a hospital, like, and there were lots of patients for other things. Like, there was people having babies on the same floor, and like there was a range of patients on our floor. But it was a full hospital with an emergency room and everything. But his office was like across the street in downtown, and downstairs. So, like, we met him in his office, and then we went across the street to the hospital, and they did like blood work and a urine test, and then took me upstairs and got me ready. And the operating room was directly across the hall from my room, and then back again. And I had a private room with 2 beds in it, so that my husband had a bed too. The hospital was like old-fashioned, but all their equipment was modern, and it was so clean I would have eaten off the floor. Like, every time you stuck your head out in the hallway, there was somebody cleaning.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Okay, so the process is you get there to Mexico, Aaron, and they say, okay, hi, I'm Dr. Alvarez. Let me take your blood. Let me take your urine. Okay, let's go have surgery. Woo! Is that how it went?
Pretty much.
Wow.
I went into his office, and they weighed me, and then me and my husband sat down, and we talked with him for just, maybe 5 minutes, and then his nurse took me. She took before pictures, and then she actually took me across the street. Me and my husband, we took all our stuff, and just, like, he sat in the hall with it while they did my blood work and my urine. And then she took us up to our room, and we kind of got settled, and she said, somebody will be here in a few minutes to get your IV started. So then they came in and tried to do my IV, but couldn't even get a vein because my veins are deep, and they roll, and they suck. And so they said, well, we'll just let the anesthesiologist do it. And they put me on the gurney and wheeled me across the hall, and the anesthesiologist started the IV. And I remember thinking, okay, he's going to push that medicine. I'm going to count backwards. I'm not even going to remember past 5. And when I wake up, this is going to be done, and I'm going to start my new life. Like, I remember all of that, and then I woke up, and I made a hilarious, like, post-op video where I tell people that I'm so high, and, yeah.
I got to watch that.
That's exactly how it went.
What about you, Robin?
Yeah, that's my experience is actually really similar. They actually, when you fly up there, I chose to stay an extra day, so I went a day earlier because I don't know, I was really nervous, and I just needed that extra day in the hotel in Tijuana in case I changed my mind. So I went down a day earlier. The driver picked me up, and he took me to actually what was really cool was he took me to the hotel, and then I asked him about a bunch of stuff about, like, where I could go shopping to get souvenirs, and he offered to come back and get us. And so he actually came back and got us that evening and took us all around to all these different places. He said, don't go here, they have cheap stuff. Go here, and so he took us everywhere and basically gave us a tour of the city and showed us all kinds of stuff. And like I said, you can see all that on the videos that my husband took too. And so then the next morning they picked me up. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning. My husband went, and so we checked out of the hospital or out of the hotel for that day. We went, and the doctor came in, and I met with him, and I talked to like the guy that kind of runs things around there. I met they have a couple of interpreters because the nurses actually didn't speak very good English at all, but they have interpreters there all the time that actually come into the room with the nurses. So they started an IV, took my blood, did the testing there. They didn't do my urine test, but they did a blood test, and then yeah, like it was like they come in, put the little booties on me and the little hat, and I went, and like probably an hour after I got there, I was back in surgery, and I just remember waking up, and that was that. I didn't do any funny videos, but.
So were you kind of relieved at how quickly and easily the pre-op process went at the hospital, or did it make you nervous just knowing how painstaking the process is in the U.S.?
It made me nervous just because like I said, I was just nervous about the fact that they didn't do a lot of testing, and I was convinced that some horrible thing was wrong with me and that they weren't going to find it. That was my main concern. I'm just a hypochondriac anyway, so everything is wrong with me. I just know it. So that was my only concern really about that. But it definitely made it easier that it was just over right away. I just went in and did it, and I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it once I got there.
Gotcha. What about you, Erin?
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm foolish. I wasn't nervous at all. But hi. I don't typically get really nervous about anything. So I was just like, well, this is what we're doing. And if I die, I'm meant to die now. So let's go.
You are so ballsy. I love it.
Well, it was probably easier for you too, just knowing someone personally that has used that surgeon and had good results. That definitely would help, I would imagine.
Yeah, that was a huge help, and it was a huge help for my husband too, to trust him to do surgery on me. Was because we knew someone. They didn't steal any of her organs. Like, she was fine, and it was working. So everything was. He was pretty confident that we were going to be all right.
Does anyone want to check YouTube and Facebook and see? I think we've got several people watching the show. See if there's questions or comments.
I've checked Facebook. There's nothing on there yet.
Okay.
Nirvana, are you there, Nirvana? I'm just going to check in with her before she leaves, see if she wanted to add anything or ask any questions.
I actually have, I have a little bit of time, but I wanted to reiterate something that you said earlier about the cost. Since I was so heavy, and I have TRICARE because Matthew's in the Air Force, most of the Air Force hospitals won't touch you if you're over. So I had a very hard time finding a surgeon who would touch me, because at that point in time I was breaching 500 already. You know, when I started my journey, I was 500. So, you know, I was really, really worried that I wasn't going to find anybody and it was going to be too late and I was going to die of a heart attack. So, you know, I was working on a timeline. You know, things were just declining so fast. So I actually started looking into Mexico and then looking into the United States and the cost. You know, how much money could Matthew raise with his paycheck, or for me to down to get it done. And I knew that, you know, the sleeve wouldn't be enough for me, so I knew no matter what I was going to do, I was going to have a gastric bypass. So I had actually talked to 3 different surgeon groups in the area, and one of them quoted me just for his services. That's just for the anesthesiologist, his nurse, and him, was $30,000, and then he told me that the hospital would cost me up to $7,000 alone, just for 3 days in the hospital, and that's if no complications happened. And he said, because you're so big, I can almost guarantee you something's going to go wrong. He's like, I can almost tell you, you're going to raise an X amount of money, and then something's going to go wrong, and you're not going to have the money to pay for it. He's like, you know, because I was trying to, you know, talk to them and get a real answer, you know. And then another surgeon said that I'll touch you if you get, you know, 350 pounds. And I was like, well, obviously I can't get to 350 pounds, or I wouldn't need you in the first place. So, you know, and then finally the people that I did see, and which is the one I went with, had I not gotten pay for it, he was actually willing to do, and he was going to charge me. That's because he had a deal with the actual hospital that was right next door to his surgical group. He was going to charge me $50,000 for all of it. So, and that was a week in the hospital, and, you know, kind of a pray to God thing that nothing happened afterwards. But he said if it happened afterwards, we would work on it. But still, compared to what they paid and the amount of care, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, Heather, you might be able to reiterate on this with TRICARE, that they want you out. You know, you get in the hospital, they want you out the next day. You know, time's money, friend, and you're dependent. You're dependopotamus is what they call us. I don't know if you guys know that, but you're pretty much just the husband. So they're kind of like let's get it done and out. So I did want to kind of reiterate on that. It's very, very expensive to try to do it on your own dates. So I can see why a lot of people reach out to, those surgeons in Mexico.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned TRICARE again, because that's the other thing. They don't cover the sleeve, and that seems to be the most popular surgery right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of women with TRICARE are considering going to Mexico just because they want the sleeve. So I don't know.
And it sucks. It really does. The TRICARE will approve it now, but there's so much tape and there's so much time that goes past, to try to get that approved, that it's ridiculous to even try for right now.
Yeah, and they'll do it like only at a military base if there's a surgeon that does it, and there's usually a really long waiting list and stuff like that.
It's pretty rough. It's like I'm dealing with that right now. Because they could reverse my gastric bypass and then give me a sleeve if that had what I wanted. But because they sleeve, he's like, yeah, maybe in 2 years we could get you in for something like that. So, yeah, it's pretty awful for that kind of red tape to try to get through for TRICARE. I don't know what everybody else's HMO is for mine.
Okay, well, we have some comments on YouTube. Are you ready for that? Heather?
What's that?
Some comments on YouTube.
Are you reading them, or you want me to read them?
Oh, I just got them. Sister Scaleback RNY says, hi, she missed half of it. Danielle says, Aaron's little boy is adorable, and she never knew about having surgery in Mexico. How much cheaper is it in the U.S.? I think you guys just covered that. PJ Jenkins is just joining in. Your mom's fat. Great topic. Zena, BSG Warrior Princess. Hey, my lovely. So happy to make it tonight's show. Michael VSG. He said he had a friend who had surgery with Dr. Alvarez and has only had great things to say about him. Danielle Stevens said she's terrified that she would die if she had the surgery. And Penny, Danielle, and Frenchie all say hello.
Hello.
Hello. I didn't ever say how much mine cost, and some people might be wondering. Mine was $4,750. It would have been $4,500, but because of my high BMI, they charge an extra $250 for the anesthesia. So it was $4,750 for the actual surgery, and then I think it was like $600 for my husband and myself to fly there and back. We got the tickets like a long time in advance, like right when I scheduled. So that was all it cost, really. And my husband, he had to pay for his food, but our hotel was included. He stayed with me in the hospital, so the only extra cost he had was his food. That was it.
Wow.
So you're looking at under $6,000.
Yep.
Like way under $6,000.
And honestly, that's why I actually didn't go with Dr. Alvarez, because he probably would have been one I would have went to, because I heard a lot of really good things about him. But the reason why I didn't is because it was cheaper, and I figured if I'm going to Mexico, I don't know. If I was going to go to Mexico, I was going to find one I was comfortable with and was cheaper.
Yeah, I knew that Dr. Alvarez was, he is actually probably one of the most expensive in Mexico, but because I knew personally someone else who had gone to him, there was no question for me that he was, to me, worth the extra money just for my own peace of mind. That, I mean, I think I paid $3,000 for peace of mind more than anything. But like she said, our hotel was covered. He stayed with me in the hospital. He did have to pay for his food, but they like took him to restaurants and stuff. And we were only there, 2 nights, I think. He's in the background saying we spent $30 for 3 days. Besides, we drove from Kansas. I live in Kansas. And yes, there's Mama. And we drove to Eagle Pass, Texas, and then his driver came across the border and picked us up and drove us back over. So it paid for our hotel stay. And
So you didn't fly? You didn't fly to Mexico?
nope. We drove.
How was your trip back? I'm just curious because I was really afraid to drive.
It really wasn't bad. It's a 12-hour drive, so I was sick of being in the car. But I wasn't in any pain. I had pain pills. It's not like they were very strong, though. But I had pain pills and Dramamine. You are being really loud. Yeah. So it really wasn't bad. I mean, I've heard people complain more about the flights and, taking off and landing.
Wow.
So how was your trip back, Robin?
My trip back wasn't, well, I would say the only day that I actually had pain was my flight back. And it wasn't so much pain of just being really uncomfortable and maybe emotional a little bit. And so I had switched planes and I had to ask for the seatbelt extenders, and I had a bunch of experiences with some people not wanting to give us seats together. For some reason, they didn't have my husband and I together, and I was like, I ain't flying unless you put my husband right beside me. I'm not flying. And so it was an interesting trip. But the way there, however, we actually missed our flight, so we actually had to buy another ticket. That's the only reason it was actually more expensive for us. We bought another ticket, and we actually had to take 4 different planes to get there, and I had to ask for seatbelt extenders every single time, and people wouldn't get up then either, and people were being rude, and it was an awful experience on the flight there. That's all I have to say.
Sounds like you would be better driving.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly don't know how either one of you did that, because, I mean, when I had surgery, it was an hour and a half from home, and that hour and a half ride was pure hell. It hurt so bad, and I don't know how you ladies did that, but whew, it's no joke.
How long did it take once you found the doctor that you wanted before you got your surgery date?
It only took a month for me. It took about I take that back. It took about a month and a half for me to actually schedule after I was sure about the doctor that I wanted. But I scheduled for him, and it was August 16th, I think, and I had it October 1st. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I could have had it, I think 3 weeks after that. I could have. I just really wanted the extra time to get as much weight off as I could so I didn't die on the table.
How about you, Erin?
Less than a week. I had my date, within 4 days of first contact, I would say. And then I changed later. 3 months later, I changed my date I bumped it up 6 months.
Wow. And I heard
that's around. It's a very, very efficient business he's running.
Yeah. I've heard great things. My sister-in-law had surgery with him, and she just raves about him. So
he was amazing. Wonderful bedside manner. All the other doctors that work with him. What?
I said that was what I was going to ask, because I've heard so much from watching people's videos and hearing some feedback that the bedside manner for the doctors, the nurses, from the person that picks you up from the border, they're just absolutely friendly. I mean, it's better what you would get in the U.S. That's what I've heard.
Definitely. The driver was amazing. She was so sweet, and she explained everything we were looking at on the way across the border into the hospital, and then they explained every single step of the process of what we were going to be doing and what was happening and where we were going, and just every step. Dr. Alvarez was amazing, so personable and sweet, and come over and check on you. I know I saw him at least twice a day, every day that I was there, and my mom was just in the hospital. I think she saw a different doctor every day, and she was in there for a week. So yeah, The nurses were great. The translators were great. The nurses laughed at me because I would like try to use a program on my phone to look up words for what I wanted because the nurses didn't speak English, but Dr. Alvarez's nurses did, and they were always there. But like when a nurse came in the middle of the night to check my vitals and I wanted ice chips, and so I was saying like agua frio, that makes sense to me. That's not the word for ice. So I looked it up on my phone and then I showed it to her and she was like, oh, Cece, and she went and got it for me. But they were all, and they're so adorable. They're like in the little old-fashioned nurses uniforms with like the white bib-looking thing dress over and the little white hats. So cute.
Aww. It's like Call of the Midwife.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. It's the way they take care of their patients and stuff. It's like before, way back, in the 50s and the 60s when nurses actually cared and you weren't a number or a chart,
Yeah, definitely. And they like come in and call you by your first name. It's not hi, Mrs. Warren. Hi, Erin. How are you doing today? What's going on? I was sitting on my bed doing college homework when Dr. Albert came in for the last time, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Algebra or something." And he was like, "Well, you're a number." Like, ready to go.
So 2 of the people that emailed me questions actually said sort of the same thing, that their biggest concern is what happens if there is a complication, like even 3-4 months down the line. And Erin, I think you kind of already covered this when you talked about how he handled the gentleman that had a leak, but have either of you had any complications that required you to even just go to your family doctor? And if so, I guess how did that get treated, if it even applies?
I haven't had any complications at all. I know that, I really haven't even really heard of any complications from my doctor, because like the group that I'm in is specifically for him on Facebook, and I don't see anything negative about him. Nobody really with complications, except for one person knew of a complication of someone while they were there, and it was I believe it was on like a Christmas Eve or something. The person was staying at the hotel, and they had maybe I think it was like blood in their drain or something, and so my doctor actually came out on Christmas Eve. He was at a party, and he actually came out and sat with him for like a couple hours and was asking some questions and stuff, and decided that he needed to take him back in. And he actually took him back in and opened him up and found out it was really just that he had sneezed or something like that. So there wasn't a leak or anything, but just the fact that he came within 15 minutes of the call of that, it really reassured me that if there was something wrong, he would take care of it. But I can't attest to anything long term because I don't have it, and I haven't heard of anybody that has.
Yeah. Has your family doctor been supportive to you now that you've, come back, you're a success story, you've lost a bunch of weight? Has her attitude changed?
Well, I have to say I definitely was really happy to come back and throw that in her face. I changed doctors actually, but I did go back to her the first time because I took my daughter to her, and she asked, she just said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she didn't even know I had went yet, and I was like, "I'm doing really good. I had my surgery." I think it was like at that point, 3 weeks before that. She's like, "Oh, you did?" And I was like, "Yeah, and I'm doing really good. I've lost this much weight so far." And she just kind of almost bit her tongue. She didn't say anything to me. It was just kind of like, "Oh, I suck."
I think I'd get a new doctor too. I really think so.
Yeah. I definitely did that.
Someone asked a really good question, and it was, if surgery in Mexico was not an option, where would you be today? What would your life look like today?
My life
still
would be awful. Oh, go ahead.
Erin, you can go ahead. I didn't know you were connected, so where would you be today?
I don't know what happened. I guess I'd still just be fat. I don't think that the insurance we have now would have covered weight loss surgery at all, and certainly there's no way we could have paid out of pocket in the United States. So I guess my poor husband would still be suffering through diets.
What about you, Robin?
Well, my life before surgery was I don't work. Like I said, I'm disabled, and I don't work. I'm at home every day. My daughter's in the background talking about how lazy I was. That's really nice of her. I didn't do anything. I really was in my chair from the time I woke up till the time I went to bed, and I was feeling worse and worse every day of my life. Breathing heavy. You know, I notice now that I used to yell at my husband. We used to have fights because he wouldn't park. He would always pick the furthest parking place, and it would make me so angry. I just want to punch him in the face. And so now he's even noticed. I think that it's not a big deal to me. Like, I'll just be like, just park, just find a place. My biggest concern is I just want to get in there. And so, it's like little things like that I've noticed. My grandma's been in the hospital, and I've been up there with her a lot lately, and I'm like, people need something, or they need like a soda from the thing. I'm like, I'll go get it, and I'm running in there to get it, and I'm counting my steps. So I'm like, I want the extra steps, just give them to me. And like the other day, I took stairs. The elevator was like taking way too long, and it wasn't even like a second thought. I didn't go, oh man, I really don't want to take the stairs. I just did it. And that was what was weird to me. After I got up, I was like, oh, I'm a little bit tired out because I did 3 flights of stairs. But like, I got up there and I realized I totally did not even think about that before I did it. I just went up them. So I think if I would not have had surgery, if it wasn't an option, I wouldn't have had it, and I would be in that same rut I was in. I mean, possibly going in and getting treated for diabetes, all kinds of things. So.
Right.
So the next question, I'm going to start with Erin. Other than what we've already discussed tonight, do you have any tips or advice that you would give somebody who is considering weight loss surgery in Mexico? Even if it's just websites or resources to use for information, or even what to bring or anything?
I would definitely say do your research on your doctor. Obesity Help has like tons of reviews on doctors in Mexico, so you can look and you can read other people's experiences. Look for other YouTubers who had their surgery in Mexico and see what their experience was like. Some people don't have good experiences. I had a great experience. I think a lot of people have really good experiences, but there are some not so wonderful doctors, I guess. I have a video too that just like hers shows the hospital and everywhere I was, and so that you could see. But do your research. I think that's the biggest thing, and make sure that you feel comfortable with who you're going to see and what you're doing before you do it. Because I just think if you're totally scared, it's not going to be very pleasant for you.
How about you, Robin?
Well, for me, there was no way I was going to be comfortable. I don't care if I had surgery 3 blocks from my house or in Mexico. I was not going to be comfortable with it because it was surgery and it was scary. But I did like I said, I did my research. I got on to Obesity Help, and I got on to Gastric Sleeve, and my doctor wasn't like really well known, and I think that that's one of the reasons that I was kind of drawn to him as well, is because he wasn't like advertise, bring a friend and get 20% off. Those things scared me. And so I was like, gosh, I feel like I'm buying a shirt at Kohl's or something. So he didn't rely on advertisement. He relied on word of mouth. And so the little few people that I found that had surgery with him, I then went and started researching him, and didn't find anything bad about him at all. And then what really made me choose him was the group that I got involved. I'd say find a group that's specifically for the doctor that you're thinking about. Really ask some questions. Tell people not to sugarcoat it, just to tell you how it is. And, but at the same token, when you're researching, also I'll warn you guys, there are people out there that will say negative things because they are trying to get money for a different doctor. They're the coordinators for a different doctor, and they're telling stories that aren't true. And I mean, this is true for every doctor. You know, you'll find those little stories, and you can tell. Just look on other sites, and they'll have the same story on there, but maybe slightly different. Nothing matches, and something's up. So just don't believe everything you read, but definitely do your research.
So, Pretty Loser ladies, do you want to add anything to that or ask any questions?
I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I am planning on having weight loss surgery in Mexico, so I am doing it this summer, and well, maybe sooner. And the doctor that I picked out is Dr. Alvarez, because my sister-in-law has told me so much about him and how handsome he is and how great he is. So
Oh yeah, definitely nice to look at.
yes, that's what she told me. So, but that is my plan. So I'm crossing my fingers it'll be sooner. But the plan is by this summer I will be on the losers bench too. So with the BSG.
Well, she's awesome. You're not going to regret it.
Oh, I can't wait. I've seen nothing but good reviews and videos, and I mean anything I've read, because I did my own research, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Trisha or Nirvana, anything you want to add?
So I'm gonna try really hard, to share this and not cry about it. And I don't typically speak about her ever, because it's very upsetting for me. But I had a friend, and her name was Amber, and she was going through kind of the same thing that I was. She wasn't able to find a surgeon who would take her. She was really, really big. She was like 550, and she couldn't find a U.S. doctor to take her, and she was on Medicare. So she was looking into going into Mexico, and we were supposed to, keep more of a correspondence together. And she messaged me probably about 3 months before her surgery and said, hey, I found somebody in Mexico. I'm going down to Tijuana, and I'm going to get a gastric bypass, and they're going to take out my gallbladder too at the same time, and I have a hernia. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I'll give you, all the information from my doctor and stuff, and then, because I told you I was looking into that too at the same time. And she messaged me, and her husband messaged me after the surgery, and then they sent her home on an airplane, and she contracted H. pylori. If you don't know what H. pylori is, it's from eating unclean meat, usually pork, and it's a bacteria that sits in your gut. The doctor did not check her for that. Like, my doctor checked me, like, with an endoscopy. He went down there and looked to make sure that I didn't have it, and it was a very dangerous bacteria. It spread, and first she was on a feeding tube, and then she was on, then they put a PICC line in, and then a central line in, and they were trying to, kind of control it. And her health just deteriorated, and she was already back in the United States. And a lot of surgeons, when things are going wrong, they don't want to put their hands in it. They're like, oh, this has gone wrong, and I didn't, this is not my patient, so I don't really want to fix the problem. So she was having a really hard time trying to find somebody who would go the extra mile and figure out exactly what was wrong. The autopsy is what found the H. pylori. Nobody else did. So she passed away. And I think that it was from lack of education, and I think it was because she didn't go to a reputable doctor, of course. She didn't go to Dr. Alvarez or anybody. She was looking for somebody who would take her, and she had contacted a couple surgeons before, and none of them, was willing to operate on somebody that big. So she did. I think that if you are going to go to Mexico, that you really do need to go to a very reputable and surgeon, and make sure that they do push for tests and make sure that you get, antibiotics and stuff like that before you come home. Because once you get back to the United States, there's a lot of times where, you might have issues trying to find somebody who will help you. So I'm not saying that happens with everybody, but there are horror stories with any surgery, but this one was very personal to me. So I just want everybody to be very careful, and if you're going to go out of the United States, to make sure that you go to somebody who will help you, like these two ladies did.
I'm really glad that you shared that. I know that was really hard, and I'm really, really sorry that you lost your friend, but I have a lot of respect for you for sharing that with everybody, and it does kind of reiterate the point that you just need to do your research, and although stories like that are very rare, you just have to think about what would you do if you did have a complication, and think that all through when you're making your decision. And one thing I thought about earlier when you guys mentioned how quick the process is in Mexico, that just because they can book you for surgery in 2 weeks doesn't mean you need to have surgery in 2 weeks. Like, you need to take your time and just continue doing your research. Even if 3 surgeons are ready and say you're a great candidate, I mean, do not rush into any surgery. I mean, you just really need to think it through. And
don't let them.
Does anyone else have anything
to Like, don't let them send you home before you know you're ready. Like, if you feel like something's wrong, or you feel like you can't get your food down, make sure that everything feels copacetic before they send you back on the plane or drive you back over. That's the biggest thing, because there are places that you're just money, and you're a fast, quick dollar. So I think it's really, really super important for you to do your research. And even though they can get you in like a drive-through, doesn't mean you should take it that way. You should definitely push for any kind of medical care that you think you might need.
And I know there are ladies who have gone to Mexico for surgery and have gone alone. And I personally would not recommend going alone, because after I had my surgery, I almost wasn't able to have anyone in the recovery room because my husband couldn't bring my son in. But my mom at the last minute came, and honestly, I don't know how I would have survived even just the 1 day in the hospital that I stayed without her. So just if going to Mexico for surgery is the best decision for you, just really try to find someone to go with you, someone that can advocate for you, speak up for you, because it's hard after surgery. I mean, to do pretty much anything. I mean, putting your socks on, adjusting in the bed. I mean, you just want to have somebody there for you. So I would recommend that no matter where you have surgery. If anyone has any other comments or questions, I just have one last amazing lady that you all probably know who had some questions. She has also had surgery in Cancun. Betty Luhu, you guys all know her from Facebook, and she doesn't make YouTube videos, but she has an awesome blog. She's very, very entertaining.
She is. I really like her.
Anyway, we're going to put her blog post down below. She did a really detailed and honest blog post on her experience with VSG in Cancun. She kind of gives you the good, bad, the ugly. I don't know if there's anything ugly, but she doesn't sugarcoat it, which is what I love about her. But she had 2 questions for you two. So the first question is, do you keep in touch with your surgeon in Mexico for follow-up? So, Robin,
I do.
For Aaron?
I do, on Facebook. He has like a Facebook group, so I can post it in there, but I also, like, he follows his patients, so, like, we're Facebook friends. He comments and likes on my posts if I have a question, but I also have his email and his personal phone number, too, so if I needed him, I could get him.
Can I get his personal number?
Sure. He'll give it to you. He'll give it to you himself.
Wow.
And Erin, I'll just go to the next question. You can just answer both of her questions together.
Okay.
What has been your plan for post-op follow-up care? She's probably wondering, are you going back to see him, or are you doing something here in the U.S. for your follow-up?
I'm not. I could go back to see him. He said if I had any problems, I could come down. I could come down there and see him, but that's kind of far. But I don't really do follow-up care. That's horrible to admit, but unless something seems wrong, I don't go to the doctor. So
yeah, I'm kind of
like
that.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to have. Like I take my vitamins, I drink my water, but if there's something that I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, I had my surgery here in the United States, and my surgeons kind of, I mean, I saw him a week after surgery, and then I don't see him again until I'm 6 months post-op. So every doctor is a little, or every surgeon is a little bit different. I know some people were like, what, you don't go back to see him until you're 6 months? And I'm like, well, I'm good. I mean, I just drive there and get weighed in, and he'd probably pat me on the back, and I'd leave, so.
Yeah, he did say something about, like, when you go in for your physical every year, have them go ahead and do, like, a full blood panel and check all your vitamin levels and iron and all of that good stuff. But they would do that anyway, so.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't really have any plans for follow-up care.
And, Robin, I'll ask the question again, Robin, just in case. The first question is, do you keep in touch with your surgeon in Mexico for follow-up?
Kind of the same thing. My surgeon has a Facebook group that I'm a part of, and so I'm there quite a bit, posting like pictures of myself now, and talking with some people. And the coordinator for that doctor is actually, in that group as well. And so if I have any questions, generally I will just message him, or I will call him even, and him as well as his wife, who deals with the diet aspect of it, they will either, if they don't know the answer, they will contact him, or sometimes I can even go on his actual page and ask a question, and he'll answer it there as well, but I just kind of choose to go through some other people. But there is like they're doing, like, it'll probably be about when I'm 1 year post-op, they're doing this thing in Tijuana where a bunch of people that have had surgery, they can all come if they want, get together, and I plan on going then and, having a follow-up visit during that time. But other than that, they give you a little sheet and they tell you when you need to have your labs done and things like that. And so I plan on just going to my doctor at 6 months and getting my vitamin levels checked again, which is what I did right before I had surgery. So
awesome.
Other than that, no.
Well, that's one thing I would say. Another piece of advice if you're going to have surgery in Mexico with any doctor is find a good support group, because you're not going to have that, whether it's online or in your local town. Like I said, I live somewhere super rural, so there's nothing anywhere near me. So I really rely on the Facebook and YouTube communities to help me in that with support. So make sure you have something in place, because your doctor's office isn't going to be there to give it to you. And also, one thing that I wish that I had that you don't get when you have surgery in Mexico is a nutritionist. Sure, I could see one in the United States, but where I live, the chances that I would find one that was familiar with the needs of a BSG or WLS patient are pretty slim without driving 2 to 2.5 hours to either Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Wichita, Kansas. So really, buy books, do your research, brush up on nutrition, because you're not going to have a nutritionist that you're going to see to help you.
And I agree with that aspect as well, the nutritionist aspect. I'm actually planning on going to see one, my own thing that I'm doing, but as far as for things that I kind of wish I would have, I know a lot of people that I follow that will go to their group of the place where they had it. They have groups every week, and they have that kind of support. And I kind of wish I had that in-person support, but I don't. I called a place really close to me. I live in a really small town in Iowa. So I called a place in Des Moines, Iowa that does the surgery and asked them if I could attend their group, and they flat out told me no because they didn't want me to encourage anybody to go to Mexico. So that part kind of.
Wow.
It's all about the money, man. That's what it is. It's about the money.
Maybe you guys can get together and do like a group online.
That's a good idea.
That's really good advice. We're running out of time. Trisha or Chrissy, do you have any other questions for the ladies?
No.
If I decide to do it, will one of you guys go with me and hold my hand?
I will. I'd love to go back.
I don't know if I can handle Aaron.
I just feel like you'll be fine. Just do it.
You'll be stealing my thunder with Dr. Alvarez. I'll be like, back up.
I'm happily married. It'll be fine.
I am too, but he's hot.
He's not that hot. He's not hot enough for me to mess up my marriage.
Exactly, yeah. He's just nice to look at.
A little eye candy while you're in recovery is not bad.
Yeah. If I can't fart around somebody, they're just not attractive to me, so.
All right, so
Well,
for
he
anybody
wants you to, so.
For anybody watching the show tonight that's considering surgery in Mexico, check out the links below. We'll leave links for Aaron's YouTube channel or Facebook. Same thing with Robin. I'm sure they're willing to give any advice and answer any further questions that you might have.
Absolutely, I have both.
Yeah, and they're both open and honest, and just feel free to reach out to us, and also check out Betty Lou Who's blog post down below as well, and you can kind of follow her journey since she's had surgery too. She keeps up with her blog, so that's it. Trisha, do you want to sound off?
See you guys later. Check out prettylosers.com. Thank you, girls, ladies, for joining us. I'm really excited with your weight loss, and hopefully Christy and I can be sitting next to you really soon. So thanks for coming, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for having us. Bye.